Hey guys, how's it doing? I'm Pradesh from Saleshandy, and now we know that what sequence score is and what are the factors that affect it and how you can actually improve it by following the suggestions given in the checklist. Now let's have a look at how does a sequence with a score of 100 actually looks like. If you are new to this video, if you're new to sequence score, you can just go and check the other two videos where we have actually discussed in detail about how sequence scores works and how you can navigate it in Saleshandy. For now, let's just go into the sequence and click over here, and you can see that everything is perfect. Our score is 100, email setup is perfect, sequence setup is perfect, and email writing is also perfect. So let's have a look in detail in the things in the checklist at what are the factors that actually contribute to it. So in the email setup, the first thing in the checklist is your SPF record. So having an SPF record is very much important because it allows you to have an additional layer of authentication. It prevents fraudulent activities and it also gives a high reputation among the ESP spam filter. So it's important to have SPF record in your DNS. If you want to know about how to set up SPF in Saleshandy, you just need to click on this YouTube icon and you'll have a walkthrough that how to set it up in Saleshandy. The second thing is the custom tracking domain. So while we talk about the email setup, having a custom tracking domain is important because whenever you track the links or opens, it's a good idea to have a custom domain for better deliverability and higher chances of getting into the inbox. The third thing in the list is to have a minimal daily sending quota. Well, it is recommended that every email account that you add in Saleshandy, you should have a daily sending quota of less than 50 emails per day. So it gives you a better deliverability and gives you a higher chance of going into the inbox, and it also preserves your daily sending limits, right? Now the next thing in the list is DMARC setup. As we talked about the SPF, DMARC is also a DNS record. It helps you add another layer of authentication just like SPF, and it also includes a setup of DKIM. You can just go over the YouTube and see how you can do it for Saleshandy. You can just click over here and see the video, and it will give you an idea that what are the steps to configure DMARC in Saleshandy. Another most important thing while setting up your outreach is that your email accounts should be less than 6 months old. If your email accounts are new, it's not a cause of worry because you can always go and warm them up. You can just watch the video here and see how you can actually warm up your accounts if your domains are new. So it's not a cause of worry. Now, the last but not the least is to setting up interval between two emails. It's a good idea that to have a reasonable amount of space in your email sending that allows spam filters to breathe, and it also helps you getting a better deliverability, and spam filters know that a human is sending it and it is not being marked as spam. So these are the things that we actually need for a 100 score in email setup. Now let's go and have a look upon sequence setup. What are the things in the checklist that we actually need to do for a 100 score? So the first thing is we need to disable the link tracking. If link tracking is not important for you, if you're not tracking it as a metric, then it's a good idea to always disable the link tracking because it helps you for high deliverability. And having links or multiple links in your email always causes a worry for the spam filters. So it's a good idea that you should disable the link. But if you want to use the links, you should have a custom tracking domain configured. It's always a good practice. The second thing in the checklist is to disable the open tracking. Although open tracking is a metric that most of the cold emailers use, but if it is not a metric for you, if you're not tracking opens, so you can just disable it for good deliverability, and spam filters always welcome you. It has a good practice, right? Now the third thing is that you shouldn't have any disconnected email accounts in the sequence. So whenever you create a sequence, only add those email accounts which you want to use, so it doesn't cause any technical discrepancy while sending. So it's always a good idea to have only those accounts in a sequence which are active and which you want to use. Now the fourth thing in the list is to have more than 2 email accounts in a sequence, and you can use a sender rotation for this. While Saleshandy allows you to add up to 50 sequences in your 50 email accounts in a sequence, so it's always a good idea to add more than 2 so that your daily sending or your email volume is distributed among each other and your deliverability is not hampered. You always get good results out of it. Now, Another thing while having a look at the sequence setup is to have a sequence status that the sequence is currently paused and no emails are being sent, which are just resuming the sequence to continue sending your emails. While any of a sequence is at pause, you can activate it. Don't keep them on draft after you have set it up. Just send them and have a look at how actually they are performing. So it's a good practice that you activate it and you can just pause it any other time, right? Now, to prevent the hard bounces and to have a good list, it's always a good idea to use credits in Saleshandy and to verify your contacts whether they are in good shape, whether they are deliverable or not. Because hard bounces always affect your deliverability, so always verify your prospect before sending it. Now, the second last thing is to have a number of follow-ups. It's always recommended that you add at least 4 follow-ups or 4 steps in Saleshandy so that it gives a higher chance of getting a response from a prospect. So it's a good practice that while setting up your sequence, you create more than 4 follow-ups. Now, the last thing in the sequence setup is that you have a number of variants in each step. Like, for example, in this step, you can see we have 3 variants. So it's a good practice that you have more than 2 variants using A to Z testing in Saleshandy. So it always gives you an idea that what is working for you and what is not working. So yeah, these are the things in the checklist that we have for sequence setup, and this is how you can make your score 100. Now, the third tab is email writing. It is the way how you personalize emails and how spammy is your email content is. So the first thing in the checklist is that you should have merge tags in your steps, like in your subject line, in your email body. It's a must to have a merge tag as a best practice so that spam filters consider you as a human and the recipient also invokes interest to reply you, right? So it's a good idea to always have multiple merge tags in the subject line, in the email body. Now, the number of merge tags also matter, that how frequently are you using the merge tags. So always use more than one merge tag in your email content, as we already discussed in the first thing in the checklist. Now, the third thing is to use a spin text. While spin text allows you to create multiple variations of a phrase, maybe some CTA, so you should include spin tags. While an example of spin text is given here, like you can see that we have a spin text here. It starts from spin and ends from end spin. So you can include multiple spin texts so that each email is unique for the prospect, and it also have a good indicator for deliverability and your higher chances of landing in the inbox. Now you can use Saleshandy's writing assistant, which gives you an idea that how many spam words are you using in your content. Like here, you see every time you write your email content, the suggestions are given here, and it also gives you the number of spam keywords you're using. If you're using any of the spam keywords listed in the keyword dictionary of Saleshandy, it would just reflect you. So you can just modify it and you can use some another synonym for it for better scope, right? Now, it's also important that you keep your email plain. You can remove the HTML part from your email content from going into Saleshandy and clicking over this button. Like, it clears all of your formatting, and this is how you can create a plain text. So your deliverability is good and your score is maintained at a good level, reaching to 100, right? Now, the next thing after setting up or after creating a plain text is that the merge tags you use don't exist in your account. Like this would be the alert that you will receive if any of the merge tags that you use in your email are not added in the Saleshandy account. Like sometimes you use a merge tag that are actually not added as a custom field. So add them as a custom field to use them as a merge tag. So it's always a good idea to have a test. Like you can send a test email before sending out your outreach to have a look at whether your spin tags or merge tags are working. Now, the number of words you use in the email body or in a subject line, it's always important that you keep a check of the characters that you're actually using in the subject line or the number of words that you're actually using in the email body. While if you exceed the number of words in the email body, Saleshandy would give you alert. It would give you a suggestion here to fix it up. And in the same way, it also gives you a suggestion to either decrease or increase the number of characters in the subject line according to the best practices. So this is a checklist that you can follow for writing emails, and this is how you can attain the score of 100 here. And just after you have earned a score of 100, you can just go and activate your sequence, and boom, everything would be fine. You would get better results. And this is how we achieve optimal results for better deliverability, for great responses, and also to maintain a high reputation through sequence score. This was all about how you can achieve a score of 100 in Sales Handy. If you have any queries, maybe any suggestions, you can just reach out to us, or you can just visit our FAQs if you are facing any confusion or you have some technical difficulty achieving it. Well, this was all, friends, and hope you would like Sequence Go. Please share your feedback. Thank you and have a nice day.